Now that you know, what do you do? You can ignore it, but you may have tried that in the past. Well, how well did that work out? You can plead with him to be different and to stop the behavior, and yet that pleading doesn't work and just further accentuates the relationship being really upside down. Him in a 1 or 2 up position and you in a 1 or 2 down position. You can get a makeover or start an extreme diet or get body parts changed or enhanced in a never-ending cycle of trying to compete with his fantasy life that likely has been fueled by pornography. You can get angry and threaten, and yet threats don't work, and threats only momentarily give you relief. You can get even by threatening to have an affair or actually having an affair. We call that offending from the victim position. This is where the partner is so hurt that out of anger says, "You did this to me, therefore I get to do anything that I want." Well, I can tell you from the experience of other women who have done this, they have hurt themselves far worse than they ever hurt their spouse. They've injured their self-esteem and further accentuated the unevenness of the relationship. Are there any other choices? Yes, there are. You can choose to get healthy. That is, you can choose to recognize that his behavior has wounded you and that you've been badly traumatized, and determine that you're going to do whatever it takes to get healthy. And if you get to this point, then your focus is not on saving the marriage, but it's on saving yourself. You're going to do whatever you need to do regardless of what happens in the relationship. And for some, sadly, they'll watch their sexually addicted spouse move on in life without them, and that's heartbreaking to see. For others, when the sex addict sees the wounded spouse focusing on herself, amazingly, some sex addicts wake up. They recognize that it's not all about them anymore. When this happens, there's hope for the relationship to move forward. But for today, you don't know what your partner's going to do. He may or may not get serious about recovery. He may or may not care about rebuilding the relationship. Well, today is up to you. Will you take the steps necessary to get healthy? I would suggest that you start by learning everything that you can about sex addiction, about trauma, and about sex addiction recovery. There are 2 books that I think are essential for you to read right now. The first is Your Sexually Addicted Spouse, How Partners Can Cope and Heal. It's written by Dr. Barb Steffens and Marcia Means. It is, I believe, the most important book for you to read at the beginning of your healing journey. Many wounded partners that I talk with got their start in healing by reading this book. The second is my book, Stop Sex Addiction: Real Hope, True Freedom for Sex Addicts and Partners. In this book, more than 100 partners of sex addicts have shared what helped them in healing and what hindered them in their healing. Also, they shared what helped in restoring trust and what are the things that were barriers to the restoration of trust. Now, both books are available on paperback. You can get them at Amazon or in bookstores. They're also available for download right now at Kindle and iTunes. Download both books today. Set aside the time that you need to read both just as soon as you can. Your healing must begin today. Don't stay frozen in the trauma caused by the discovery of your partner's acting out. Today's the day to learn all that you can about healing from your partner's sex addiction. I'm Dr. Milton Magnus, and remember, your healing begins today.